Hi, I'm Cheryl Lightshoe, and I want to welcome you to the Leadership Energy Assessment videos. I'm founder of the Leadership Energy Model and the Leadership Energy Assessment. And my goal is to help you as a leader understand all the tools and resources that you can so that you can be successful in your leadership confidence, focus, and direction. This is video number 1 of a 3-part series that I'm attaching to your experience of the Leadership Energy Assessment. Why am I doing that? Because I want you to be successful and I want you to understand this concept called energy. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to use a few notes so I make sure that I cover all the things that I think are important. So today I want to talk about the leadership energy. What is it? How does it work? Why is it important to understand it? And then I also want to give you some tools so that you can take your scores and move them to the next level. So let me start with an analogy to understand this thing called energy. For a moment, I want you to picture a river or a stream, something that you've been by, something that you've watched, and I just want you to visualize that in your mind. In that river, there can be the water flowing very gently. So I want you to picture what that looks like when that water is flowing very gently. There's a lot of things happening under the water. There's fish swimming, there's currents happening, there's new water, sand shifting. There's a lot of things happening underneath that water. But as you watch it, the energy, the flow of the river just continues to move forward. Then I want you to picture that same river, and in that river is a few rocks. And as you know, when you watch the river, the larger the rocks are, the greater the turbulence, the greater the blocks, the greater the challenges to the energy flow. So if there's a few small blocks, you might see a few little ripples going on underneath the water. But if there's large blocks, you're going to see a lot more rapids, a lot more turbulence going on in the water. And then finally, if you move downstream just a little bit, there's a very eager beaver that's down the stream, and that beaver has worked very hard to build a dam to block the flow of that river. Sometimes the water is blocked up completely above stream and little flow downstream. Sometimes the beaver hasn't been quite as industrious as he would like, and sometimes water's kind of seeping through or flowing around that particular dam, or maybe finding new courses to get around that dam. In all of those cases, the energy, the river is flowing, but in one scenario, it's flowing very gently and smoothly. In another, there's a few blocks, a few challenges to the energy flow, and in another, there's a complete block of energy. Well, the same thing happens with the leadership energy, and that's part of the assessment that you took, of understanding where in the river do you have blocks, where in the river does it just flow naturally and easily, and where does it maybe some more significant challenges to that river. I believe to be an effective leader, we have to understand all of the pieces that either create our ability to lead or create the potential for people to follow us as a leader. And energy is one of those aspects. If there are blocks along the way, it's going to impact how you make decisions. It's going to impact how you interact with others. If there are complete blocks and barriers, it's going to impact your joy, your satisfaction in being a leader, which again attracts people. Think about the leaders you know. When they are feeling joyful, when they're feeling energized, you want to be with that person and you want to hear what they have to say. You want to follow through on what it is that they are offering to you as a leader. But when you have somebody who's constrained, when you have somebody who, you just meet with them and it's a burden to meet with them, you feel a burden, you feel a challenge to meet with them, it's probably a sign of some energy blocks that are just not working for them, and certainly they're not working for you as a follower. So your scores on the Leadership Energy Assessment give you an idea of your energy flow. And I'm a big one to say, well, awareness is an important piece, but so what, Cheryl? So what am I going to do with that? Well, the end of this video and the next 2 videos, I'm going to really focus on helping you look at what do you need to do to create that awareness of how does this affect you every day? How do you actually begin to decide if you want to shift that energy and what the impact will be on you, not just the leaders that follow you? And then finally, what action steps do you take? How do you just not have a checklist that somebody else has created, but for you to create an action plan that really is going to work for you? That's what I do every day as a coach, and that's what I want to do in these videos for you. So here's your assignment from today's video. First of all, I want you to pick 2 energy categories. I want you to pick one that's a strong category, that the score is high and it works well for you. And I want you to pick a second category where it's maybe a little bit more of a challenge. Maybe there's a block. You don't have to pick the high score and the low score. Just pick the 2 that seem to be resonating with you, that you really want to start focusing on. Then I want you to just start a journal. One about the strong energy channel and one about the challenging energy challenge. So the high energy score, the low energy score. I want you to start a separate journal page on each of those items. And I want you to journal, how does this score impact your leadership confidence, your leadership focus, your leadership results. So you've got the score, you've got the statements that I put on the assessment, but now I want you to really bring it to life. How does this score actually impact you as a leader and your ability to have others follow you to your success? So that's it for video number 1. Enjoy the writing. Stay tuned for leadership number 2, where we're going to talk more specifically about how do you decide if you really want to shift that energy. Thanks for joining me. See you in that video number 2.